They earn the right to earn more in a day than people earn in their lifetimes. You need to be here and you're here. You have to learn how to behave in hard circumstances. And so if you're like, man, I wish I could grow really fast, you're actually wishing for a tremendous amount of pain for an extended period of time. And then when people don't have that, or they hit their first pain, they're somehow surprised that it hurts. And the thing of the pain of business is it's not just like this visceral physical pain. Of course, you have those from time to time. But a lot of the pain of being in business is not knowing the fuck you're doing and feeling like an idiot. Being like, why am I not good enough? Why do these other people, why are they doing so much better than me? Like, what conclusions can I derive from that? There's only one of two paths. Either I have something outside of my control that I can cast my blame to, or I have to take the punch to my ego and say, I'm just not that good. That guy's better because he's unethical. Okay, sure. If that's what makes you feel better, and now what? And so the things that make it hard is that, one, you have to accept that you're not good, and you have to do it over and over and over again. Right when you think you're good again, the world proves to you that you're not as good as you think you are. And this happens at all levels of business. The same thing is when you have those plateaus, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been 3 years, right? It means that you haven't changed. You've behaved the same, and so you're getting the same outputs. And the change is painful. And sometimes the painful change means that you actually have to take 2 steps back. And your ego not only has to get hurt, but hurt even more. Because you have to realize that you built your thing wrong. You hired the wrong leader. You have the wrong team culture within a department. What do? Well, you either leave it there and stay perpetually under your potential because you weren't willing to confront the difficulty of the inconveniences that are going to come to you as a result of making the changes that you know you need to make but aren't making. And so I bring this up because we feel like we're the only people who experience this. Like our pain is more than other people's. Our love is deeper than other people's. But when we do that, we rob ourselves of the ability to learn from others that came before us. The other people who already learned what this is like, who've described the pain. And listen, even if you try to take as much advice as you possibly can, you're still gonna get burned. It's still gonna hurt. I have yet to see someone really start figuring out what's going on in less than 5 years. And I'm saying 5 years of being in the game, not 5 years of I have an idea, I'm really passionate about this, I've been reading stuff on the side, I work on the weekends. I'm saying all in for 5 years. And you just begin to get a grasp of what it takes to be good at business. And the difficulty is that it's so hard to teach business in school because it changes so much. The principles remain the same, but the game changes. And I think that we judge ourselves because we somehow believe that we're behind other people. It's one of the most painful things that we can do is that obviously you compare yourself. And then after making the comparison, there's nothing wrong with comparing yourself to other people. That's how you figure out discrepancies. But then you label. Then you say, and I suck as a result. And I'm worthless. And I'm never gonna be good enough, right? But if the first part is valuable, that guy's better at ads than me. What is he doing that I'm not doing? I should learn that, right? Not that guy's better than me at ads and therefore I suck as a human being and will never win. But if we zoom all the way out and really think about this, because this is a little bit trippy, the game of business has been going on since the dawn of time. There were merchants in ancient Egypt 5,000 years ago that were in the game of business. And the game of business will never end. It's an infinite game. Who was the number one merchant in Egypt 5,000 years ago? No idea. Who was the number one merchant 4,000, 2,000, 1,000 years ago, 200 years ago? No one knows. And so we have this idea that we're somehow going to become number one. But I'm like, at what? At net worth? And then eventually your kids become trust fund kids? And then that gets divided up 10 more ways because no one's got game like you? And eventually you've got 8 family members on the Forbes list? Okay. And none of them are the ones that actually made it, and none of them know how to multiply because they aren't in the game. They never learned the skills of the game. Like, if you see the game as constant, the only thing that changes is the players. So my mom used to say this thing, which was, and I doubt this is her quote, but the news is always the same, only the names change. So think about that. So you look at the headlines, right? It's like, bankers get greedy. Sound like new news? No, they just changed the names. Jealous husband kills wife then self. Same news. It's not even news. It's just humans being human. And so business news is also the same way. Hot new technology comes out, grows really fast, find out actually not good, crashes quickly. Investors lose millions. This stuff is the same. Boy learns how to sell. Boy learns how to advertise. Boy learns how to make product. Boy eventually makes lots of money. Boy eventually gets old, tries to, give back to a certain degree, becomes a philanthropist, old in his age, retreats a little bit. The next of kin comes in line, not as good as that person, maintains, third generation destroys. It's just humans doing human shit, right? And so I say this because a lot of the hardship of business is comparing yourself and labeling that comparison and saying that I'm not better or worse than these people, but all the players on the board are going to get swapped in 100 years. All the players, the whole board gets wiped. The game still goes on, but the players change. If you can actually give yourself a pat on the back as long as you do one thing, which is that you stay in the game. You keep playing. You keep rolling the dice. Do you have my offers book? No. Let's see if I can grab it. Hold on. Oh, my leg. I did legs this morning. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I think it's the leads book. So, this is the story of the many-sided die. So I wrote this. I didn't hear this. This was just like a concept I wanted to share. So imagine you and a friend play a dice rolling game. You're each given one die. One of the die has 20 sides. The other has 200. On each die, only one side is green, and the rest are red. The point of the game is simple. Roll green as many times as you can. Roll green. You pick up the die and roll again. You keep telling yourself one thing. The more I roll, the more greens I get. At first, you roll green once in a while. But as more red sides turn green, the green happens more. With enough rolls, hitting green becomes the rule rather than the exception. So what does your friend do? He rolls a few times and hits red each time. He sees you roll a green and complains that you must have a die with fewer sides. He reasons it's the only way you could have rolled green before him. And although you did, you also rolled many more times. So which is it? In either case, he rolls a few more times in frustration and hits a green. But then he complains about how long it took. He spent more time watching you and complaining than actually playing. Meanwhile, you've hit your green streak. It's so much easier for you, he tells himself. You get greens every time. This game is rigged, so what's the point? And he quits. So who got the die with the 20 sides? Who got the die with the 200 sides? If you get the game, then you see that once you roll enough times, the die you're given doesn't matter. The die with fewer sides might roll green sooner. The die with more sides might roll green later. But a die with a green side always has a chance of rolling green if you roll it. Every die hits its green streak when rolled enough times. All of us get a many-sided die. And looking at the other players, you have no idea if it's their 100th roll or their 100,000th. You don't know how good other players are when you start. You can only see how well they do now. But if you understand the game, you also know it doesn't matter. A few begin playing early, others begin much later. The rest sit on the sidelines complaining about how lucky the players are. I guess so, but they're luckier because they play. And when they hit red, which they do, they didn't quit. They rolled again. Learning how to advertise is a lot like the game of the many-sided die. You don't know if it's going to work until you try. And no matter how many players there are or the number of sides on the die you're given, you start to see the only two guarantees that the games will give. Number one, the more times you roll, the better you get. And number two, if you quit, you lose. So I read that story because that's obviously a story of an infinite game. You and your buddy get given two die. One of you has a 20-sided, the other has a 200-sided die. You don't know who has which. And there's one green on each. You roll it, and if you hit the red, nothing happens. If you hit green, you get one of your many sides that turns green, and you get to roll again. And the only statistical probability there is that if you keep rolling enough times, all of the sides will turn green on both die eventually. But you just don't know how many sides the die that you're given has on it that are red. Which means you just don't know how many shots you're gonna have to take in order to win. And that's why having high frustration tolerance, having high fortitude, having high resiliency, and high adaptability, those skills of mental toughness are what allow you to stay in the game of business. It's what allows you to keep rolling the dice, even when you get smacked 20 times in a row as reds, because maybe you have a 2,000 sided die. But if you know that the one fact of this game is that if you keep rolling, you keep playing. And if you keep playing, it means you're in the game. And if you're in the game, it means you've won. Because in infinite games, there are no winners and losers. There is only players and quitters. And so when you are starting out, you are just early. You have more reds left to roll. You just gotta get them out of the way. You gotta get the failures out. It's the only way you figure out how to play. You just don't wanna lose so bad that you die. But as long as you don't die, you can keep playing. And I feel like that actually is a pretty hopeful message, despite my relatively aggressive demeanor. Shame is breaking someone else's rules. Guilt is breaking your own rules. Cringe is supposed secondhand embarrassment. Someone saying, oh, that's cringe, saying, I'm embarrassed for them. But in reality, it's a defensive status play, which means you should interpret it as if someone says, oh, that's cringe, they said that to you. It means I'm beginning to change my status relative to other people or relative to them, and therefore I'm on the right path. And so we have to ask the question, like, whose rules are we breaking? Did we agree to their rules? If we set the rules, what outcome do those rules optimize for? A rule is an if-then statement. Is that true? How do we know that? And why does that matter? People seeing you try hard will say, why are you taking this so seriously? Why do you even care? But the truth is they've never cared about anything in their lives. Like, when's the last time they took anything seriously? Of course, never, and it shows. And so I had a guy once come up to me and tell me that he saw how hard I was trying with content. And then he said he'd almost outsourced all of it down to 2 hours a week. And he was like, yeah, like bragging about it. And I said, yeah, it shows. And he just like looked at me and I was like, yeah, it shows, right? He was trying to be cool about the fact that he didn't try hard, but all it looked like was that he was losing. But back to point, is it cringe to care? Yes, of course it's cringe. You can make anything cringe by just caring about it. And the only people who think caring isn't cool are people in high school or people who got older but never grew up. So be real about this for a second. Just changing how I talk about something can make it sound cringe. So in the fitness world where I came from, right? Bodybuilding, you could be obsessed over muscles, oiling up and posing in tiny trunks on a stage for strangers, right? Maybe competitive chess, right? Staring at a board for hours in dead silence, obsessing over wooden pieces like your life depends on it. Making YouTube videos, cringe. Setting up light, you're gonna set up your little lights and talk to your little camera like an idiot, like no one's listening, right? Editing for hours just for a couple views and comments. Oh, writing a book, that's cringe. Locking yourself away for months or years, pouring your soul into words that most people will never read. Like, you just go sit away and type at your keyboard, right? Anyone can make anything cringe, right? Because anyone who cares about anything is cringe. But the worst, and I think Dom Mazzetti said this, and I love this, the cringiest thing of all is to be scared about looking cringe. So why are you hating on someone else who actually has a passion or an interest or actually tries? Like, do we really want a world where people care less? Because when you make that claim, like, who do you really hate? Who does the person who says that's cringe really hate? Do you hate them for committing to something or yourself for lacking the guts to commit to anything? I wanna show this in the realest form I possibly could. I went through the archives. I scrolled all the way back, and I'm a weirdo about, like, I try to keep everything. So I have like my lifelong text and videos and pictures, and I'm very grateful for that. So I'll give you a tiny piece of advice to anybody who's on the journey right now. Document more. Like, I would say I don't have many regrets in life, but one of them is that I didn't document the struggle. I didn't document the journey because I was ashamed of it. I didn't want anyone to know. It's kind of like the people who, like, when they're overweight, they don't want to take pictures of themselves because they're ashamed. But it's like, one, you got to face reality. And two, if you believe that you're going to win, this will be part of the story you tell. And so like Kanye was documenting in the very early days because he believed so hardcore that he was gonna win, right? And I'm grateful because I knew the moment that I actually started documenting purposefully was the day that I had $1,000 in my left in my bank account after I lost everything. I was like, I will never let this happen again, and this will be the beginning of my comeback story. Hey guys, real quick, many of you guys are getting started in business and don't know, but other entrepreneurs have already tried to help. And so 3.6 million copies were donated by other entrepreneurs in my book launch, and I'm donating these books as well. And so if you're starting in business and you would like the Ultimate Business Backpack, all 3 books, this one shows you how to figure out what to sell, This shows you how to get people to find out about it, and this one shows you how to make money from it. And when you have all three, you can actually get started. All right, on top of that, you have 30 days of school that you can get absolutely free. And all of this, including the books, including school, including shipping, is 16 bucks.
Yeah.
Like, we lose money on this. So go grab it. It's the ultimate thing I can give you, my gift. Enjoy. If you go there and it's shut down, it's because we ran out, but as long as the link still works, there's books. And so I want to show you some real stuff. It's tough. But I hope you enjoy it, because I think everyone, many people will compare their current chapter to like my chapter or somebody else's chapter, whoever your person is, but it's not real. It's made up. Like compare it to this. This is the first ad I ever made. Now compare that to my first professional ad that I ever made. It's super cringe. Okay, here's my cringy first post where I was trying to get people to give me money. Right? I'm just like, hey, I started this thing, please give me money, right? Here's my first content piece that I ever made.
Hey guys, Alex here, welcome back.
Sounds very dialed, right? There's a strong hook, strong meat, strong payoff. No, it's horrible, right? And this is the first YouTube video that I made when I started making YouTube content. And this is my first IG post. Now, 90 days after that first ad that I showed you, I lost everything for the second time. And that's when I made my first podcast. And so my goal was to document the lessons so that I had something to look back to as I moved up in my career. And I thought it'd be really cool if Buffett or Bezos or Musk had done some sort of like video diaries of the come up, not just the top, right? As something like an artifact for us to learn from that we could follow in their footsteps. Unfortunately, the world is too rational of a place to reward the undeserving. That's a Charlie Munger quote. In order to get what you want, you must deserve what you want, which really means that you've got to be good. And the only way to get good is to be willing to be bad for a very long time. And so this is my promise to you, is that you will be cringe. These videos, these pieces of content, your first product, they will be cringe, but you will also not be alone. And so the point is this, you'll figure it out as long as you start, take feedback to get better, and never stop. And if this motivated you to stop judging yourself, because hopefully these are super cringe, I made an entire video on the iterative process that I followed to get here, which you can watch. Let's see what this is.
Hey guys, and in your next installment of the Mind Game series, I just want to talk about love versus discipline. And it's a topic that I feel like gets totally misconstrued within the fitness industry, because